All righty, it's another Friday. Welcome to Real Talk AI and Cyber. Right now, I got a special guest on with me this week, Mr. Johnny Ernest, Director of Solutions Architecture at Expedient. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well, man. Happy Friday. Ready for the weekend, right?
Man, you know it. We're way on past hump day, sliding into the weekend. Always good vibes.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, Johnny, we had a good conversation on the show last week. We were talking about Chat GPT and is it a security risk, and specifically concerned about folks using those free versions and throwing their information in there, and all these AIs learning about them. And once you put it out there, you can't ever get it back, right?
Right. Yeah. Shadow AI is a real thing, but you need these tools to your employees. They're going to do it if you don't do it for them. So we've got a solution for that. So.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, as part of that, we really turned the page and offered a couple of different solutions. One of them was Expedient Secure AI Gateway. I know that's one of our favorite solutions. We like a lot of things about it. I'd really like to hear more about yourself, and then some about Expedient, and then show us some good stuff on this Secure AI Gateway, the product that you guys have got.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll show you the real deal. We'll start out with a little presentation and then slide into an actual demo of the product. Again, Johnny Ernest, Director of Solution Architecture. Been at Expedient 8 years now. Love it. Seen us evolve over time. From when I started, we had, I think, 9 data centers at the time. We're up to 15, growing organically. But yeah, so based out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Nice. So you guys got quite a few data centers. I know Expedient does more than just secure AI gateway. You guys look like you got some pretty powerful engineering going on over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, 15 data centers in 9 different cities now and expanding. I'll tell you a little bit about us, but first let's talk about our chops, right? Our accolades this year is pretty cool. This slide is already out of date. I call it the Triple Crown. This year, and I've been here 8 years, we've won Cloud Provider of the Year multiple times with VMware, with Nutanix, with Cohesity, and others. This year, we're actually Cloud Provider of the Year for Nutanix, because we've been doing Nutanix for 6 years now, and for the VMware VCF Partner of the Year as well. And the Triple Crown, Zerto, we're also Zerto's Partner of the Year. So that tells you that you know what we're doing when it comes to infrastructure as a service. And we're
Man,
kind
that's
of, go ahead.
yeah. I was just gonna say, man, that infrastructure is so important. I mean, you can't have AI and cybersecurity without a solid infrastructure, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and we put 100% SLA, not 5 nines, anything like that. If you're down for any reason, we're writing credits back to you. So we got to really make sure that's a solid infrastructure for you to run on. We've been around for 18 plus years. Our senior management, the company is about 25 years old. A 99.4 retention rate. Look at that. Clients leave mainly because of acquisitions and things like that, where it's out of their control to leave. But we keep a happy client base out there.
Nice, nice, man. Sounds like you guys are doing it right.
And you've got to look at the accolades across the industry. Like I said, we've been doing infrastructure as a service, specifically cloud, with VMware based when we started out, about a year after AWS started out with EC2. So we've been in there a while, and we've been, like I said, doing Nutanix for over 6 years. We have thousands of VMs being replicated to Zerto, either just being a Zerto target or production and DR with Zerto. So a lot of great industry recognition out there to kind of tell you who we are.
Good deal. Good deal.
And let's look at where we are. Like I said, we have 15 data centers across the U.S. You'll see on that little dot down in the middle there in Memphis, Tennessee. Then we're up in Columbus and Cleveland in Ohio, headquartered in Pittsburgh. We're in Baltimore, Boston, Denver, Phoenix. And then the black dots that you see there are our connections into hyperscalers. So those are actually Equinix connection facilities, so you can get your express route and direct connect. So we can provide the best VMware experience out there, but you can also connect to your cloud native workloads via those on-ramps.
Nice, nice. That
And
makes a
then
big difference in latency, doesn't it?
absolutely, yeah, guaranteed latency across that dedicated path. Each data center is connected via a minimum of 300 gig backbone links connecting to other data centers of ours or to those on-ramps. And we've been doing it a while, and our organic growth is kind of, and here's an ad, if you're out there tired of running a data center, we look for corporations that are tired of maintaining their data center and upkeep of the facility, the generators, the air conditioners, and all that. We acquire that data center from them, make them the first co-location or cloud client in that data center, and upgrade it to our standards. And that's how we've grown over the years.
Wow, wow, that makes sense. Yeah, good deal.
All right, and then just a high level, we are infrastructure as a service. So if you are a partner out there, we're going to provide this AI secure gateway for you, but we lean on partners for things above the operating system. So for AI consulting and things like that, get your clients using our secure AI gateway, and then you provide that training and learning models and all that work above and beyond the infrastructure layer that we provide, because we're going to provide a rock solid infrastructure. And we stay in our swim lanes when we work with partners as well. So like I said, I've talked about our cloud platforms. We have multi-tenant VMware or private cloud and private cloud Nutanix, backup as a service, disaster recovery as a service, and co-location. So if you're like say a financial institution and you have physical routers for Jack Henry or FIS, we can put those physical devices in co-location and tie that together with the cloud environment as well. And then we provide a co-managed environment for all of our services. So clients or their partners are not locked out of management UIs. So you can get in there and do things, or if you're at the beach sipping a Mai Tai, you can call us and we'll work on your behalf. And again,
Nice.
all of our staff is W-2 Expedient employees based in the United States, sitting at one of our data centers or working from home. So that's kind of an overview of who we are.
Good deal, man. You know, one of the biggest things that we hear from our clients is just busy. Not enough hours of the day, so many things going on. Having a co-managed partner do some of the heavy lifting really does make a difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. What we see is that you still need the same number of staff, because today they're doing all kinds of things, wearing many different hats, right? And we free up their time to focus on more strategic activities. I like to say that we offer a lot of mundane as a service, right? Those things you have to do, the table stakes. If a backup fails, you might be writing a resume, but if it succeeds, you're not getting an award on your wall, right? So
That's
we take care
true.
of a lot of those kind of things for clients.
That's true. That's true. Not a lot of love in IT when it goes wrong, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So let's get down to the soup and nuts of why we're here today. So Expedient, about a year and a half ago, started up kind of like a small startup within the company to really focus on AI for initially internally to make our employees smarter, make things easier, see what the power of AI could do for us. So we've been using AI internally for over a year and a half now. And then about the late fall timeframe, we released our AI control to the public after testing it out for a year. So that's what we'll be talking about today. So you'll see that it's a secure gateway that gives you a chat interface and API access. It integrates with your private data, and we'll go into details of how we do that. And then it's a multi-model access. We're not an LLM. We don't have, like I live here in Memphis. Elon's got Grok on the river here with 250,000 GPUs. We don't do GPUs. We're giving you access to those public models out there in a secure way. And then on the right-hand side there, you see we're going to provide enterprise observability. So you can have a SOC compliant solution for the tools that you can use in AI. And we'll talk about how that's different from just using Chat GPT only, for example, or something like that.
Security is so important, isn't it? Especially with our clients. A lot of times we're in environments that are very important environments that need to stay up, mission critical type environments, healthcare, manufacturing, and so forth. And we need to deal with the compliancy. We need the insights and the monitoring to deal with that.
Absolutely, yeah, and you don't want to handcuff them by not being able to use these tools. So when we went out to introduce this to the public, we did surveys of hundreds of CIOs of what were their concerns, what were the blockers to adopting AI, and that was the number one: security and
Yep.
observability. Guaranteeing it's not training on my data. What questions are being asked? I get audited 6 months from now, can I go back and see what was happening and who was doing what? And we'll show you how we do that with our observability platform. The next thing they talked about, and let my slides catch up here. There we go. Uncertain ROI, right? The boss is saying, hey, we need to do AI, but I don't know what to do. I've never used AI. What do we do? How do we show a return on investment with spending? So that was the second major concern. And then data complexity, right? You have all these different types of data throughout your enterprise. What makes sense? How do I connect to these? How do I make them be useful into AI? Answering specific things about my company, not just generic things that the AI can do for you, but how can I specifically look at my corporate data and do effective use of that data? And then no vendor lock-in, right? You go all in on ChatGPT, and all of a sudden Gemini comes out with a feature that, oh man, I really wouldn't like to have that, right? So we don't have a vendor lock-in. You subscribe to our gateway, and you're getting access to over 14 LLMs out there. And we'll show you how I can ask ChatGPT a question in the same session, say switch to Gemini, and ask the same question with that, and you can learn which model is best for the task that you're doing. So there's no FOMO here, right? No fear of missing out. You're not going to be all in with any one provider.
That's huge. Every provider is different, isn't there? We do a Thursday lunch and learn hands-on lab, Johnny, and it's really interesting to compare these different LLMs side by side. They each have their strengths and weaknesses, their own personality. They're each their own thing, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even on X and reading Grok responding to posts, you can kind of see there's a little personality in there with Grok,
Oh
and with
yeah.
each one, they'll give you varying types of information, and over time you learn which one is best for the task you're doing. All right, and then finally, the big thing here: 92% of CIOs say they want to implement the AI this year, but here's the fact: only 11% have. So, how do we close that gap? And I think our AI gateway is a great way to do that. Right? So let's get in the soup and nuts of it. I'm a little propeller head here, right? So I'm going to tell you the soup and nuts of how this architecture works. And if you look at the services we offer across Expedient, our cloud platforms, backups, DR as a service, we are an integrator of the best of breed technology that we get from other vendors, and we wrap our SLA, our procedures, and that's 100% uptime and everything around that. With AI, we didn't have a vendor that could do all the things that would meet those 5 bullets I just talked about. So in this one, we had to create our own. We have internal developers like everyone else, and we told them the requirements for those 5 pillars that we're going for. So we created our own here. And so you have the secure AI gateway that is basically a gateway to the 14 plus LLMs that you see above. And the key here is all 14 of those LLMs have contracted with us to guarantee in contract language that they will not train on any corporate data. If you don't see it in the list, it might be because they're not willing to do that. So all these LLMs guarantee that you're not going to train on their data, right? And for the cost, for less than the cost of ChatGPT Pro, you get access to all 14 of these, right?
Wow.
So, and then you're managing tokens in one large pool that you use across all those LLMs instead of managing pools for Perplexity, pools for Gemini, pool for AI. So it's a very good way to make use. And then our observability platform that we wrap it with, not only for security and audits, but it also tells you how your users are using the platform. What are the most popular models? Who's the most popular user? Do I need to go talk to them, see what they're doing? How can they help my organization get better, since they seem to be using it quite often, right?
Maybe give them a raise, right, Johnny?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then we integrate that with your native authentication. So most clients are using Entra ID, Active Directory out there. It integrates with your permissions, so you're not doing separate user management within the platform, and you're managing what LLMs they see, prompt engineering, and all that from group settings in your Active Directory. So it's integrated right in, and then it's role-based access into looking at the data. So if I ask a question of a link, I'm not going to see the finance department's SharePoint folders, right? It knows who I am and what permissions I have. Right?
I love
Then
it. This is enterprise grade, and it really shows in the SSO ability. It really shows in the observability and the monitoring and the security and the tightness that you can roll out. I really like the secure aspect of this, the enterprise level security.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a quick ROI getting access to all these tools. But like it says, you want to know about your company and how your company can be better. So we have an AI vector store that sits in our Expedient cloud platform, where it basically sets up connectors to your various data sources like SharePoint, file shares, different data sources that you have out there. And it will index and vectorize that data from your network. It will vectorize it into Expedient cloud storage there, and now you can ask specific questions, and it will look at your data and answer based on those needs. And the demo will really make this come out, but it's kind of fun. Every time I log in, I start seeing more and more check boxes here. So see these data sources here. When I go into the demo, now there's 11 plus data sources that Expedient has integrated with to save me time, and I'll show you some examples of how we do that. All right. Any questions about this before I get into the demo?
No, man, it looks solid. I'm excited to see the demo.
All right, well, let's switch over to the demo environment. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. You cooking.
Perfect. All right. So you see, this is the chat interface, but even this chat interface is talking via API to the gateway. So your programmers can hit the gateway via API. It uses an open AI SDK, so very common programming out there. So if you're already doing development, you're probably already using that pretty heavily. So it integrates with that. Then there's a concept of chat history. So if you have common tasks, like one of the big ones is email. You might have a lot of prompt engineering for how you want to write your email in that chat session. So whenever you compose emails, you go back to that chat session and it tells, hey, I'm with Expedient. I like to use this type of language at this level. Don't make me sound like a college professor. Don't use these buzzwords. So you can really tune the prompt engineering for that particular chat session to use that particular task and then easily go back to that, and you don't have to spend all that time or cut and paste your prompt in there. So it makes it easier. And if you haven't used AI before, you need a new session anytime you want to ask a new question, because if I ask it about when Easter is and then I ask it to add something up, it's going to think all the context of anything in that chat history. So we crank up a new chat for each time we're going to ask a new question. All right, and then if I go in here to settings, here's the beauty of it. Right here is the power. 14 separate LLMs and growing, right? This is the public model. So it's the chat GPT model that you would use. You're just not using their chat interface. And the key here is it makes it enterprise ready. If I ask for audit type questions for chat GPT, it's going to tell me user Joe Smith had 42,000 tokens they used last month. What did they ask? What was the response? So if I want a SOC 2 compliance solution, I want the date and time, who it was, which LLM they used, what was the question, what was the response, and what vectorized data was used as well, right?
Love it. Without this, it really makes it very difficult to roll out uh, AI in an environment if you don't have this observability and controllability.
Absolutely. And then if you're kind of in that crawl phase through your Active Directory permissions, you can limit this list if you don't want to blow your users away and confuse them. But I say, hey, give them the whole playground. But all through your SSO, you can fine tune what is seen in the UI as well. And then you can brand it with your company's name. It doesn't have to say Expedient up there. So you can put your corporate look and feel on the UI as well.
Nice.
So we'll
Nice.
keep it at ChatGPT, and then these are the different data sources. And I kind of smiled when I logged in this morning because they had added two more. So I connected to the Expedient training data. I'm like, hey, what data is this? And it's got data from our various learning systems like Litmus and Brainshark and others that managers like myself can go in and ask questions of and find out who's doing what courses are being taken. So it's fun to log in and see what all they've added. But before we connect to different data sources, let me show you just a simple little scenario where I switch between models.
Okay.
All right, so let's start out with who won the 2025, and let's see if I can move your little, yes, good. Had the little webinar window blocking me there. Who won the 2025 Super Bowl? And if you remember, you kept it at ChatGPT, so ChatGPT doesn't know anything about the 25 Super Bowl, so it's going to tell you that, hey, my data stops in June 2024, can't help you, buddy. Go pound sand or talk to someone else. So let's talk to someone else. Let's go over here, and you see web access means this Sonar model actually can search Google and find things out as well. It's not a limited scope data. So let's go to that one, do save, and just re-ask the same question. Now this web connected, it knows about the Super Bowl. It's going to give you highlights. It might and it's kind of funny. Sometimes it'll answer a little differently. Sometimes it'll give you links to different news articles and things so you can follow up more on it. But that's just a simple example of how I switched between models because I wasn't getting what I needed out of the model I was currently configured with.
Yeah, man. I watched that game. The Eagles killed it. Killed it.
So that's a simple model switch. Now let's connect to one of our data sources. And again, we'll keep it at ChatGPT. And they've added so many, I've got to find it. Where's my HR data? There it is at the bottom. So this is an easy, quick win for your employees. To find basic HR information, when are my days off? What's my health plan? Today, I've got to log into a third-party SaaS platform that we use for HR management. I have to navigate to the benefits section. I have to open up the benefits guide, which is like 30, 40, 50 pages, scroll through there to find what I'm looking for. Now I've said, ChatGPT, here's my corporate data. Let me ask it about my PPO plans. So without being connected to my data, it would generically tell me what a PPO plan is, right? But now it
Right.
knows who I am, who I work for. It's got my benefits guide. So it's going to give me a detailed overview down to how much it costs me per pay period, who the provider is. And then AI, there's always hallucinations. So it's trust but verify. So it actually shares which documents it actually looked at to answer my question. And here's that benefits guide. I don't have to log into the other website to find that. Boom. So now I can pull up that PDF and find more information if I want. So a simple scenario there where I connected to a data source and now it can answer questions based specifically. And you see it's still going. It's right away. It's giving me
Yeah.
detailed information on what that looks like.
Man, if we'd only did that, it would be worth it.
Yeah,
That's so
exactly. Very
awesome.
quick win for organizations, right?
Yeah, turning your business data as the source is such a game changer.
Absolutely. Then if you look at the other data sources we have out there to make our lives easier, it's still talking in the background. It'll stay gray for a minute here. But tech docs, that's our internal, technical documentation, our standard operating procedures. And there's our SA Bible that we use out there called the product guide. It tells me everything I need to do to know to quote cloud on Nutanix, cloud on VMware, backups with Cohesity or Zerto. And so if I ask ChatGPT about how to configure cloud, it would generically tell me how to configure cloud. But if I check that box, it's going to say you use SKU such and such for VMware licensing, SKU such and such for compute. And so it tells you specifically with Expedient knowledge how to configure a quote and really detailed information there. So it's so much time savings because in Expedient, our sellers actually create the quote and get it about 85% there. Then they come to the solution architect to look at it, fine tune and everything. So this is saving them so much time being able to find more detailed information very quickly and not have to navigate that tech doc site and remember that it's called product guide and things like that. So there's so much time saved there.
Oh yeah. No, without having to remember where all these docs are at. That's the biggest problem, right? Where was that again? And going and looking, that's just a huge amount of effort that this is saving.
Absolutely. And the older I get, the more I suffer from CRS, can't remember stuff. So this helps me find it quickly.
There you go. When you get up and go get something, you're like, what did I come in here for again?
Exactly, exactly. And then in every organization, you're going to have people that are just terrified of using AI. So
Yeah.
how do you make them effective? So the way we do that is with templates, right? So we have some sellers that were terrified of AI. They're all coming together now. But here we have templates for various roles in our organization. And I'm going to give you an example for sales. Oop, I clicked the wrong button there, sorry. But I'm going to go in here and say, I want a sales template. We're going to do a pre-call planner. And so with just a few fields here to fill in, it's going to allow me to do some awesome prompt engineering for them to set up for a pre-call discovery here. So here, let me give it the company name. I hope this isn't a real website. That's what I use in my examples. And then we're talking to John Smith. He's the director of IT. And then what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about DRAS. So what this is going to do for them in the background by just filling in a few different forms here is it's going to use their preferred selling method. We do all kinds of sales training. So some sellers like to use one method other than other, but Sandler's pretty popular with everyone. So we're saying using the Sandler methodology, put together a pre-call plan for me. So it's prompt engineering all of this to make this seller more effective. So we insert that into our prompt and we say go. and it's going to go through and I have an exhausted list using the Sandler method of the agenda. It's going to look at towing companies and think, hey, with disaster recovery as a service, what are some concerns of a towing company specifically? So it's going to give you industry insight into the towing industry and things you might want to ask questions about. And then it's going to set up a whole plan for you. Now, this is going to be an exhaustive list. So while it's still drawing this and everything, we'll go over and look at our telemetry platform. But think how organized this gets your seller. It also, if all your sellers are using this, it gets them on the same page. So if they
Yeah.
talk to someone in Expedient in Pittsburgh and in Memphis, they're using the same kind of methodologies and tools and have more consistent face to your clients and prospects out there. All right, so while that draws away, we'll look over at our telemetry platform. So our telemetry platform is based on Elastic, which we've been using for many, many years, tracking our thousands of VMs and VM hosts and thousands of network switches across 15 data centers, right? Imagine all the different things we need to track. So Elastic has been an awesome tool for us to do that. And Elastic allows us to do that vectorized storage and data connectors to your storage and these dashboards. It is a full instance of Elastic, so clients can actually create their own custom dashboards if they already know how to use Elastic. But this is the default dashboard that we use for this SOC compliant solution. This is actually a partner AI gateway. It's a small gateway supporting up to 250 users with 10 million tokens. And I can log in and I'm looking at the last 30 days. I was like, oops, they're going to need some more tokens this month. They're already using over 11 million. So I can quickly see how many tokens are being used, and you can see this ramp up as we've released this to more and more partners. That token usage has been ramping up, and that's awesome. That means they're getting in there and using it, hopefully making their life easier and demoing that to folks. Then as I scroll down, you can see your power users, and that's where we talked about, hey, give that guy a raise. Let's talk to him. What's he using it for? What's going on? So the token usage and then the prompt count. So how many questions are they asked versus token? They might only be asking a few things, but using a boatload of tokens, right? So it lets you know that. And this is skewed because ChatGPT is the default LLM that we turn on for most folks. So it looks like most people are using ChatGPT the most, but you'll see spikes when a newer model is released. You'll see people start kicking the tires on that. So you can see which ones are most often being used. And again, that's where you could talk to your user base. Hey, I've noticed Gemini being used more often now. What's the reasoning? Oh, well, they just came out with this awesome new feature that we're doing this with, right? And then you can see frequency of model used. And then down here at the bottom, let me refresh. Down here at the bottom, you can see the date stamp, who the question was from. I've got my login's a little stale here. Who the question's from, what model was used, and then what question was asked, and then what was the response from the LLM. Sorry, I logged in this morning and it's gotten a little stale.
30 days is a lot of data.
It is. Yeah, you're talking about 11 million tokens as well.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So I can zoom in on these questions. Who asked them? What was the response they got? Right, so great not only from a security standpoint, but to really see how your user community is using the tool, what things are taking up the most tokens if you're worried about using too much tokens, how much tokens the new model is using, asking some of the same questions. So it's not just a security thing, it's a tuning your environment thing to understand what's being used out there and how they're using it. And that way you find your superheroes out there and you find out what they're doing with it and you disseminate that knowledge across your organization, then use templates for those baby users that are just getting in the crawl phase, make them more effective. So that's a high level overview of the features of the AI Gateway.
Man, I like it, Johnny. I wanted to mention one thing. During our event last week, we talked about the difference in user-based pricing or usage-based pricing, right? And the strategy that you guys use to base this thing on usage-based so that we can get everybody on it. The strength that just putting everybody to have a chat interface and the crawl phase, right? So it's available to everyone. You get the surprises. You get those sleeper users that you wouldn't expect. You know, if you were coming at it from a top-down perspective, saying we're going to put an internal team and so will be good and so will be good. You know, that's one way to do it. And that, but the power in being able to roll this thing out easily and get a quick ROI from just a chat interface and be able to watch those users that you wouldn't expect blossom into empowered users. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen that. Yeah, we do a small, medium, and large gateway, and the small is 250 users with 10 million tokens. And you think, wait a minute, I've only got about 40 or 50 employees. Our break even when comparing to just ChatGPT Pro alone, by the time you get to your 19th user with our 250 user gateway with 10 million tokens, you're already saving more money than just ChatGPT Pro, and you're getting 14 LLMs to boot. So it's such a great value. And we'll
Yeah,
actually show you pricing here in a minute. We don't hide it. We actually will show it in the presentation as well.
beautiful.
So with that, let me talk about a couple of common use cases that we've seen out there.
Okay.
Get back to death by PowerPoint here. All right.
I'm a visual guy, man. I'd much rather
Yeah.
see it than tell me about it. Keep it coming.
Absolutely. And you don't want me whiteboarding. My marker looks like ancient Hebrew or something. So you don't want me draw. I need to use text. But one of our use cases of a client that adopted the AI gateway was a heavy equipment operator. And think that you're a heavy equipment operator. You have service engineers to fix over 20 years of how many different product lines, right? And they would roll a tech to say to fix a Caterpillar 980C from 2003. They're going to do an oil change. They get there and they've got the wrong manual. They don't know the procedure. They don't have the right oil filter. So you got to re-roll the truck the next day or go back to the warehouse. So now they can index in that vector store the 20 years worth of manuals for multiple different models of equipment and say, hey, I'm going to go do an oil change on a 980C from 2006. It's going to say, hey, okay, well, bring oil filter number XYZ and look on page 34 here of this PDF. This is the procedure for doing the oil change. Boom, you're not having to re-roll. You come prepared, and they have access via their mobile device of all the manuals this company's ever had. So just think of the time that saves in that particular use case.
Totally empowering.
Absolutely. And I'll skip ahead a little for some time. This is one I know intimately about as a solution architect. We'll get called in last minute. Hey, this client's been troubleshooting such and such. What's going on? I need you on a call in 30 minutes. Is my use case for that. And for my team, the solution architects, trying to catch up on a ticket with 400 notes because you just heard about it.
Yep.
But that's just my SA team, right? Think of our 300 plus technicians in our operations support center and 15 data centers. They're like hospitals where they have 12-hour shifts, right? And when they log into that 12-hour shift, they've got to quickly come up to speed and update and look at the tickets they need to work, what's going on, what's happening. Before we lost some time there, they had to read all those update notes, figure out what's going on in different posts and everything, right? You've read through a support ticket. So think of the time lost where this person can't work any open tickets while they're coming up to speed. That was the use case we're trying to solve here. So using a simple low code, no code app, one of our senior vice presidents, I'll give Brad Reynolds credit here, created this tool where it looks at our internally developed ticket system. It has API access to it. I can give it a ticket number, and within seconds, that ticket could be, 300, 400, 500 posts in that ticket. Within seconds, it can give me executive summary if I'm going to be talking to leadership, or a technical summary if I'm going to be talking to system admins and others of what's been going on, what's still outstanding, and I get that information in seconds, right? So time saved. Time is money. So we actually, if you look at the development of this tool, it took 2 hours for him to write this low code, no code application. Took him 10 hours to train it and keep iterating to get it right. And then if we tie it to dollar signs of 15 data centers, 12 hours, every 12 hours, this is saving us money. At 2,400 hours saved annually for $168,000 in savings. That's real money right there that we're able to return to the business to use in other things.
Man, I tell you, we like to say around here that AI is the offense and cybersecurity is the defense if you're playing football. And it's so true, right? AI is going to increase growth and profit in a business if you just let it.
Absolutely. And then if you look at the different types of data sources that we can connect to, and again, this is that vectorized data, looking at your corporate data. This list is growing all the time, and we can actually develop custom connectors. Like for many of the data sources that you saw, we created our own data connectors because existing ones aren't out here. If you search for Elastic connectors, you can get the full extensive list and details because it is Elastic that these default ones, these out-of-the-box ones come with. And then on our crawl phase, we generally say start small, people. So the first use case in our trial period and everything is generally a SharePoint site with a curated folder that we're going to go in, and similar to my HR example, start out there with your crawl by connecting to SharePoint is a very good, easy way to kind of dip your toes in the water. How about you, Ron? What do you guys recommend on that side when you work with newbies?
Yeah, same thing. We really want to just get them a solid chat interface to begin with, get them comfortable asking the question, what can AI, how can AI help me? And just get them used to that, and then start bringing the data in and bringing these, these templates, as you mentioned, making it easy so that you got the leaders in a particular department that's really shining in how to take the workflows for that business and put AI to it and really make it good. And then putting the template in place so that anyone else in that particular department can have all the background already there for them. So all they got to do is fill in a couple of fields and get running.
Absolutely. That's why we're like yin and yang here. We're that infrastructure, rock solid infrastructure. You guys come in there and really help the client soar once they have that solid infrastructure in place.
Absolutely.
So everybody wants to know how much does it cost, right? So again, we have a small and medium and large gateway. So 2,500, 5,000, and 8,000 dollars a month. Add another about $1,000 on top of that for every terabyte of vectorized data. That kind of compresses down into 100 gig of vectorized data if things compress well in that vector store. Like I mentioned, here's the graph, right? You get everything in that list, and then you're still cheaper than one of the other providers alone, right? So it's a no-brainer. Even if you don't have 250 employees, by the time you enable the 20th employee, you've saved money, and you have access to all the LLMs that you see out there.
Johnny, let's pause right here on pricing a little bit. I know this is where we had quite a few questions come in last week. Let's say that I'm a 100 user company, something in the middle, right? So you would recommend then they probably start with a $2,500 sizing here, and what additional cost would there be beyond that that maybe they wouldn't be thinking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So if they just want chat, they're not connecting to their data, it's that small gateway at $2,500 a month. If they want to connect to data, we sell it in 100 gigabyte chunks, which think of that as a terabyte worth of index data for about $1,000 per terabyte of your data that you're going to be looking at. And again, that connects to your data, and about every 12 hours or whatever cadence, it's looking at that SharePoint site for updates. So it's continually updating from the data source and vectorizing that data. So your latest sales spreadsheet is going to be out in SharePoint. It's going to pick that up anytime you add to that. So it's that base gateway plus $1,000 for the storage per. Think of it per terabyte and expanded data. And then, hey, say you're a 250 user company, but you use a lot of tokens. We can also sell batches of tokens as well. I think they're about $400 for 10 million or something like that. Don't quote me on that one. Like I said, I'm the tech
Yeah.
guy, not the sales guy.
Yeah, but somewhat reasonable. It sounds like this thing can start pretty small and scale as much as we need it to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the small, medium, and large are references. This is developed in Kubernetes and very scalable. We have clients that are looking at us for 10,000 plus users. I think library users and things like that. So it's built to scale it with cloud native code.
Nice. Now, what costs can a client expect? Let's say our 100 user client, they come on board 2,500 a month. They're more than fine with the data as you described. What other costs would they expect as far as maybe an API from uh, Microsoft 365, maybe if we're trying to access SharePoint, or what are you seeing as far as other costs that the client may incur that they may not be aware of to put this together?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's what you're talking to. Does it charge you anything? We're not charging you for API calls or anything like that. That's a flat rate fee. Tokens are the thing that you're monitoring to make sure you fit in that 10 million token in the small gateway. But there's no other fees or per transaction. But if you're using hyperscale providers with different data sources, you're talking to a bucket storage blob or S3. There might be transaction charges from that hyperscaler for you, but not from Expedient.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So no hidden costs from you, but there may be cost on the other side to bring up an API to where the data is.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
And you have control of that. If it's expensive, you can say, I only want to refresh this once a month or something like that, right? So you have
Okay.
control of that API and that iteration of indexing your data.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. And then I don't know how much longer it's going to be out there. At the beginning of the year, because we just launched, we had a 6-month free trial. About 2 or 3 months in, that was shrunk down to 3 months free trial. So it is still currently available as of today, and it's a no obligation trial. You can say, I decided I don't like the Ohio State color of red that Expedient has, so I want to cancel it. And no questions asked, cancel at any time. So for small, medium, or large, the one thing that I will note is it is a simple data connector. We're not going to do a complex use case connecting to huge data sets. It's going to be a SharePoint or something simple like that as part of the trial. So you can turn it loose to your employees, see if they're using it, make sure that you're getting the value out of it in that 2 month thing of testing after we help you connect your data source. Any questions there, Ron?
No, I mean, try it, see if you like it, right? Why not?
Absolutely.
I guess I do have one question as I'm thinking this thing through. If I'm serious about this and I want to do it, how much pain is it to onboard and implement? Can you kind of talk me through? I say yes. What's next? What does that look like?
Yeah, and we have clients saying yes every week, and we get them online in about 2 or 3 weeks, depending on holiday schedules and how quickly they respond to the delivery ticket. One thing that's unique about all of our services that we offer, when you sign up, it's not push a button, swipe a credit card. We're a cloud with a face, I like to say. When you get anything from Expedient, you're assigned a dedicated project manager that has a dedicated technical team of engineers. So you work with the same team throughout any project that's delivered or implemented at Expedient. So that person would reach out within a couple of days, set up a kickoff call. They do an internal call first, so we tell them what's going on, what the client's looking for. Then they talk to the client, and after they get what URL you want to use, do you want customization, talk about options of data sources, because a lot of clients are like, I don't know, I've never been here, help me. So we advise them on go to crawl phases for them to work through. And then takes a couple of weeks to get it implemented. And that's mainly due to workload, the volume of workload coming through. It deploys very quickly, but it's just getting that fine tuning connected to data sources that takes a while because of working with the delivery team.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, great job, Johnny, man. You nailed it. You knocked it out of the park, answered
Thank you,
all of
sir.
my questions. I sure appreciate your time today. As we finish up, I want to point all of our listeners real quickly here to the Valencia page. If you like this type of content, we do this live event every Friday at noon. Be sure to run out to Valencia here, to our LinkedIn page, hit the following, and that way you'll know about the next event. Johnny, have you got any last things before we break here?
Just saying, hey, it's a free trial, no obligations, and it's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'm going to the Pickwick Lake this weekend and going to have a good time, so I hope everyone else does as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the good vibes. Thanks for all the instructions, Johnny. I appreciate it.
All right, have a great day.